Let's talk about Kamala for a minute. Can we do that? We need to know who this person is. We had some calls earlier saying, hey, listen, we don't need to focus on her personality. All that stuff is known. You just see, everyone will see it. Like, I don't need to be here be like, hey, everyone, she has a weird laugh. Like, we all know. Like, we don't need to harp on it. Let's talk about the things that people don't know. Maybe, she was the attorney general when I lived in California. Maybe the closest statewide election, certainly in the decade I was there, but if not decades, the closest statewide election. They're never close. The statewide elections are never close in California. The closest, though, was Kamala Harris running for attorney general in 2010. She won by 90,000 votes. She won by less than 1%. She got 46.1% of the vote, and the Republican guy got 45.3%. So it was 0.8% of the vote she won by. I've never seen a state race that close. That was her first statewide office in 2010. So she barely won even her California race. But be prepared to be dazzled by her amazing political skills on display these next few weeks. Brace yourselves. Prepare to be dazzled and amazed by Kamala. You'll be told she's a brilliant prosecutor. Over and over, you'll be told she's a brilliant no evidence, no stories about when or how or in what way. She's like, show me some of this brilliance that we are told she has, but no, just prepare.
And I've heard from inside Republican circles and right-wing media that the hate campaign against Kamala Harris has begun. You'll notice they purposefully pronounce her name wrong. They say Kamala. They do it all the time. It is on purpose. But the talk is to start that hate campaign and get it going and start it churning.
A hate campaign? I don't hate Kamala Harris. I don't hate her. The reason people mispronounce her name is because it's a weird name. Have you ever met a Kamala? Have you ever in your life met a Kamala? I've never met a Kamala. It's people mispronounce her name because it's a weird name and no one really cares who she is. So like people don't even dedicate the brain power to like make sure you get it right. You know what I mean? It's like whatever. Kamala, who cares? Mika, at the very least, is falling for the trap of thinking that everyone follows this stuff all the time like she does. I was talking to a friend and they were like, who do you think the VP is going to be? And I was like, well, I have no idea. No one does. But here's some ideas. And, they're looking at maybe Gretchen Whitmer. And my friend says, who? Gretchen, who are you talking about? Oh, yeah, like if you don't live in Michigan, or even if you do live in Michigan, most people don't know Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. I would argue most people in this country don't even know who the vice president of the United States is. I think most people in this country don't even know who Kamala Harris is. If you go up with the people on the street, if you go just randomly today, ask 10 people who the vice president is, I bet 5 of them won't even tell you, don't even know. So it's kind of a weird name, but everything is going to be racist and sexist. My point on weird names is no one, for like 20 years, no one knew how to say the name Rihanna.
And is it Rihanna or Rihanna?
Rihanna. I say Rihanna, but Rihanna is still okay.
I don't know why everybody is insisting on calling you Rihanna if your name is Rihanna.
Because, I think it's my accent that makes me say Rihanna.
But that's what your name is then. It's like me being Ellen and people call you Elaine or something like that. If you want us to call you Rihanna, we'll call you Rihanna from now on.
Rihanna or Rihanna?
No, it's
Rihanna.
your name. Rihanna.
It's Rihanna everywhere.
I was like, I don't know, Rihanna, whatever. Kamala, whatever. But that's like the nicest thing. But no, MSNBC, you're racist. And if you get okay, so let's talk about our policies. Kamala is. I brought that up just because that's a taste of what's to come for the next few months. Any criticism of I'm confused. Any criticism of Kamala, is that right? That's right. Okay. Any criticism of Kamala will be racist, misogynist, blah blah blah. Just get ready for all that. So on those policies, she is way further to the left than Joe Biden. She is, by different metrics in the Senate, she's the furthest left in the entire Senate. She's to the left of Elizabeth Warren. She's to the left, just her voting record, she's to the left of Bernie Sanders. She's extremely far to the left. She's from California. We heard a couple stories yesterday from Peter Schweitzer. I got another one for you that we didn't get to yesterday. When she was Attorney General, this is back in 2014, there was a group of hospitals in California, there were 6 of them, called the Daughters of Charity. And they were losing money and they were going to shut down. So they went for sale and they found a bunch of people bid on it, a bunch of hospital groups bid to win the hospitals, to buy the hospitals. And they found one buyer who was willing to honor the $250 million in unfunded pension liability for 17,000 former employees. They promised to maintain the facilities for at least 5 years, and they committed to $250 million in capital expenditures and keep the current contracts with all their employees. Pretty sweet deal. There's one company willing to do that in their bids. It's called Prime Healthcare. And they had a good track record of doing this, Prime Healthcare, of buying these struggling hospitals and turning them around. The sale had to be signed off on, for some reason, by the Attorney General. And the Attorney General was Kamala Harris. No problem, whatever, sign the papers, be done. Everyone was for it. The NAACP was for it. The California Nurses Association was for it. There's 90,000 nurses in that. Everyone, the NAACP was like, every group was for it, except for one. The SEIU. The SEIU wanted the hospital to be a union hospital. This was 2014. I don't know if she just did re-election or was just re-elected, but 2010 was her first election. Her biggest donor, this was after her second election. Her biggest donor in 2010 and 2014 was SEIU. And SEIU promised her $25 million through her PAC for election. For re-election, to the Senate. I think the promise was for the Senate even. Whatever, you get we promised $25 million to your next campaign if you say no to this deal. So Kamala said, all right, Prime Healthcare, I'll sign off on you buying this group of hospitals, but only if you abide by these 75 pages of stipulations. And Prime Healthcare said, whoa, like that's impossible, we can't do that, and the deal fell through. The head of SEIU, Dave Reagan, he's still the president of SEIU, he told the head of Prime Healthcare that Kamala was, quote, his politician, and, quote, she will do whatever I tell her to do. The hospital chain ultimately was sold to a private equity company called Blue Mountain Capital. It's not called that anymore, but Blue Mountain Capital, they've never run a hospital before. They're out of New York City. The owner's a big-time Democrat and has donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to Democrats as well. So the question here is does Kamala look out for, well, in this case, the low-income people who these hospitals served, or was she looking out for the union bosses? And just to throw in a little extra spin here, the rich private equity fat cats in Manhattan. Who was Kamala acting in the best interest of? Where was her priority when she had the ability to sign off on that deal with that group of hospitals called the Daughters of Charity? Was she looking out for the people served by that hospital? Probably not, because the NAACP even and the California Nurses Association thought this was a great deal. But she, in her infinite wisdom as Attorney General, said, no, not a good deal. Instead, let's give it to this private equity group in Manhattan that's never run a hospital before. Let's give it to them. Why? Because the SEIU wanted her to. Now, check out this story. Anyway, I share that. I got plenty of Kamala stories. We have a lot more Kamala stories to share over the weeks here. And that's the kind of thing, I'd rather talk about that stuff than her laugh. Everyone knows about her laugh, right? I'd rather talk about this stuff that no one knows about. But the story is going around, and it's true, that Donald Trump donated to Kamala for her race for Attorney General in California. In 2010, he gave $5,000. And then in 2014, Donald Trump gave $1,000 for her reelection for Attorney General. And then Ivanka gave $2,000. So you're like, what's that? What is this about? What do you... Okay. Here would be my answer to that. And I'm curious what you would say to that as well. Donald Trump giving money to Kamala Harris in her run for Attorney General in California. Trump in 2016, when it was brought up that, he's donated money to Hillary and all this other, he said, it's interesting. I was looking at the ones I'm running against. I've contributed to most of them. He was talking about the Republicans here. I've contributed to most of them. Can you believe it? I've given to Democrats. I've given to Hillary. I've given to everybody because that was my job. I got to give to them because when I want something, I get it. When I call, they kiss my blank. That's exactly what the head of SEIU said when he told the head of Prime Healthcare that I own Kamala. And if I may, I think that's the beauty of Trump, the candidate. It was when he was a candidate. Now he's beyond that now. But I think that was one of the good things. That was one of the strengths of Trump, the candidate. Because Trump, the candidate, doesn't give a rip about any of these rich people and their money. Because he knows how it works. He's not beholden to it. He doesn't need it. He knows how the game works. He knows he knows the transactional operation. He knows, and he doesn't care. He doesn't want it. He's the one candidate I've ever seen who's not beholden to money and donations.